my darlings, how are you? How are we? We threw on a wig today. Yes, I had to make a point up in here because we have a fake Kate walking around these streets. I said, you know what? Let me throw on a wig and a bodycon dress. Would you know that it was me? We don't know, but I'm sure you'd have said that looks like Fumi. Yeah, she got her wig on, but she's still looking fabulous. How are you, my darlings? The dress is by Zara, and it came in white, in pink, and in black. I'm going to go back and get the black. It's beautiful. I live for it. Yes, yes, and yes. All right, darlings, how's everything going? I'm going to quickly edit, and then I'm going for lunch, and then I have a parents teachers meeting. Should I go like this? Adrian's mom. Oh God, I have to rush, I have to rush, and I'm here filming. There you go. So yes, we have yet another episode. That was not Kate, and I'm here to let you know the truth. Hello, my darling FUMINATION. How are you? How are we? Oh my God. My name is Fumi Desalu-Vold. For those of you that are stopping by for the very first time, you are so very welcome indeed. Are we living and loving the beat and the wig, my darlings? These times when I tell you we don't even know who is who up in here. I haven't worn a wig in a minute. This is by the Virgin Fantasy. When you want fabuloso with a natural hairline and look really gorgeous, you want to flip it a little bit, go to the Virgin Fantasy and use my discount code FUMI. I live and I love my hair. Every once in a while, you just gotta flip it. I love my natural hair, as you guys know. But today, I really wanted to wear this wig. I am also wearing a fabulous white dress because I cannot wait for spring. This is by Zara. Yup, yup, yup. Da 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 da. Are we living? It is super bodycon. And this is the front. They had it in black, they had it in pink, and they had it in white. And I just thought, you know what, Fooms, that white is everything. So, there we go. And I just thought, why not? Let's spin it a bit, because yesterday I was in my workout wear. I had a little time today and I said, you know what, for me, just get dressed. I am going for lunch. I'm going for a fabulous salad lunch, minding my business and eating my salads. Ladies and gentlemen, this has to be the first time I have covered the royal family this much. To the point that upon reflection, when I look back, I did not even do a fashion review of Meghan's wedding. I just don't cover them that much. I really do believe that you have to give them that space and all of that. Drop it down in the comments. If you still want me to do the review of Meghan's wedding, I will do it, because I thought there were a lot of people that were looking fabulous up in there. For the third day in a row, I am here covering this situation. Again, it's very rare for me, but I don't like people playing in my face. That's the word they're using now. In essence, don't take me for a fool. Don't play with my intelligence. I don't like it. And when you do that, you now draw my attention to what you're trying to hide. The beautiful Princess of Wales announced that she was going to be away because she was going to have a medical procedure and would not come back until the 17th of April. Fine. I personally do not need to know whatever details. I didn't even need to know that she was having an operation. I don't need to know that. That's your time. And so, for whatever reason, the Buckingham Palace, the royal aides, for whatever reason, I do not know why, they started churning out pictures trying to derail something of which I did not pay attention to initially. I just thought, oh please, it's all fodder. They're trying to, you know, make something out of a molehill. Who cares? And I addressed other things. I just couldn't be bothered. Then we saw Kate, or I saw Kate, in her mother's car. And she looked extremely puffy, maybe 30 pounds heavier than she usually is. People are giving whispers about steroids, this, that, and the third. And so that was why she looked swollen. She most probably didn't want to be out in public. Then there was another picture where her head was completely turned. And that was the reason why I wore this wig. Because you might think it's me. Because Fumi has short hair. Because Fumi is kind of sort of 30 pounds heavier. It's not this slinky chick that we are seeing right here, because girlfriend has lost weight, toned up, tightened up, snatched for spring. Yes, I have. Doesn't look like Fumi. But in actual fact, it is me. Yeah? I thought it was odd that she was turning around and that was the only picture to prove that she was fine, this, that, and the other. Until this circumstance, I had never heard of Sarah Rose Hanbury. I just hadn't. But apparently she's been around in these, side chick streets since 2019. And there have been allegedly pregnancies, and she might be pregnant, this, that, and the third. Yesterday, The Sun released, and TMZ also released, a video that the Princess of Wales was at the royal farm. And then they released the video. And it's not Kate. I say this. When Kate had her 3 children from the Lindo wing, where you're still healing from a fresh birth, and I've given birth, so I know what that is, she still came out to share pictures of the beautiful royal baby. She was dressed and she was good to go. And that abdominal section, she wore loose dresses because the tummy was still big. Because that's what women do. We know each other. If Katie Poo was the one that was walking down with a fury faster than normal for somebody who has been terribly unwell, why would she be wearing jeans? She looked 15 years younger. And I could see the wig. It's not as fabulous as the Virgin Fantasy. Not as fabulous. Wearing jeans, and she's carrying a bag. And she's with William. Yeah? Any man that knows what you've been through would have carried the bag for you. It doesn't add up. As much as they're trying to make this wash. So from her mother's car, where they say, ooh, you know what, it wasn't her, to the doctored pictures with her 3 children, all smiling, to the picture with herself, with William in the car, to this picture and video at the royal farm. I got, you see, FUMINATION, we're a beast. We don't play no kind of games. I will tell you this, that I get a lot of information from FUMINATION because FUMINATION is all over the world, 125 countries, and we have people working in all kinds of places. I got this screenshot of which I will show you, and it says, I read in the comments on another video, someone said they worked at that farm, and whenever any royal, in caps, visits, they close the farm until they leave. She said the farm was not closed and she did not see any royal there that day. Lies, lies. I said, wow, 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 wow. The eyes. And I said, I'm filming today. Because, like I said, I don't like the nonsense. And I think of a lot of people don't care about what the health issue is. Don't explain, don't complain. They should have left it at that and not brought out any pictures or videos. Then I would have believed. But with all of this cloak and daggers and Columbo-esque. What are you hiding? And then it occurred to me, and I don't know, but I have a feeling that Kate is very much alive, but she's not cooperating. That things have come to a head with herself and William. And she said, "Fuck." And she threw it all in his face and said, "I've covered you. I have taken all of this nonsense from this family. I've done more than anybody expected me to do. I'm done." I think she called her family. I think she called her mom and said, because that's how we are, "Mom, I'm going to get a divorce. I just want you to know and be prepped. No, I don't want to talk about it. I've decided, I've made up my mind. And this is how it's going to go down. Do you have a place for me to stay where I can take care of the kids and get things going, because I'm going?" I think that Kate is the one that's not cooperating. And in so doing, they've gone over her head. And they're trying to patch everything while they try to patch William and Kate's marriage. Until then, she's laughing and she's enjoying the catastrophe, because it's a situation of a wife who does not feel appreciated. You think I don't do anything here? You think I just wear pretty dresses and I smile and I don't say anything? Okay, you know what? Let me hands off all of this. Let's see how this goes down. I think she went for her operation, but I think in so doing, Sarah Rose Hanbury came right back to the surface. Maybe he was careless. Maybe he went out 1 or 2 nights. Maybe William is not the mild, wonderful individual that we see. That perhaps he has a temper. Harry said it. He pushed me onto the dog bowl, of which it broke and the pieces were inserted into my back. Maybe Harry and Meghan were right all this time. Their polls are going up in America. They don't care. She's American, they're in America, the polls are going up there. Because TMZ confirmed it with our darling peers, who could not speak about Harry and Meghan without putting them down.
The late Queen's motto was never complain, never explain. There may be furore, frenzy and fabrication, but the monarchy should maintain a position of dignity and stoicism that befits its status and stability above the fray. In the most part, it always worked for her. The times, well, they are changing. The royal family is changing. The way people consume information about the royal family is changing. And through a series of unforced errors, the royals have completely lost control of a narrative they would dearly like to control. The front page of today's Sun newspaper reports that the Princess of Wales looked happy, relaxed and healthy on her first public outing since abdominal surgery, although that is not a picture, as they make clear, of her. It's an old one. It's not taken on this visit to a farm. They say that she and William spent the morning watching her 3 children play sports, and then they went to her favourite local farm shop in Windsor. And that's obviously good news. It means Kate is clearly on the mend. That's what everybody wants to hear. But there are no photographs with that story, for whatever reason, nor any named witnesses to the walkabout, for those who spent weeks speculating wildly about everything from the seriousness of her health struggles to the state of their marriage. It's unlikely to be enough to draw a line under this. There are many unanswered questions about the Princess of Wales and the calamitous edited photographs she released last week. We've documented them in detail on the show. At a time of indisputable crisis, feels a bit of explaining and if necessary complaining, maybe exactly what the Prince and Princess of Wales need to do. The public's reverence for the royals depends on integrity and on trust, and both of those things have taken a battering. Only William and Kate can really put this right. And amid the digital maelstrom that's rocked the royals' global reputation, of course, Meghan Markle has entered the conversation. On the same day that Princess Diana's memory was being honoured, she launched a new luxury lifestyle brand called American Riviera Orchard, whatever that means. It will apparently sell nut butters, garlic spreads and edible oils and fats to the rapidly diminishing number of people who may still see her as an aspirational figure. But the timing, well, pretty cynical, wasn't it? The continued exploitation of fading royal status by these two in Montecito is increasingly trashy. Why would you announce this on the very day that Prince William is standing up in London to pay tribute to his late mother? And the products, let's be honest, they sound wretched, don't they? We're entering the D list of the Sussex circus, which contrasts with the dignity of William and Kate, and is of course precisely why Harry and Meghan lost the hearts and minds of royal fans everywhere in the first place. It's also why it's so important that William and Kate now win back the public's trust. Well, join me, the author of Catherine, the Princess of Wales, which is out in July, Robert Jobson, lawyer Paula Rowan-Adrian, podcaster and comedian James Barr, and from America, the founder and editor of TMZ, Harvey Levin. Well, Harvey, let's go to you first. You guys had the first picture of Kate a week or so ago, taken in a car with her mother, we believe on the school run. I know she's been to see the kids at school since then as well. She didn't, I have to say, Harvey, look much like the Kate we saw in the beaming Mother's Day picture, where she looked a picture of radiant health. In fact, quite the opposite. You've dealt with celebrities and royals for your entire career. What do you make of all this?
Well, I think I haven't seen this kind of bungling since prosecutors handed O.J. Simpson that glove. I mean, it has been a fiasco. Not just what they said, which got them in trouble, but what they didn't say. I mean, they're putting out pictures that are edited, and then when they're asked to release the unedited photo, they refuse. I mean, what are they expecting? That there will be conspiracy theories, and I don't even want to call them conspiracy theories because people are just not buying the official story because of the way the palace has handled it. And when you look at the picture that we posted, you know, there are people now, they're so skeptical, they're reviewing it like the famous Zapruder film that was shot when John F. Kennedy was assassinated, where you can see bricks outside the car that don't necessarily match with the way the bricks look from inside the car. So the trust of Buckingham Palace has just been obliterated because of this. And Piers, I mean, the idea that major news outlets are treating what the palace puts out the way they treat what comes out of Iran and North Korea with kill notices is just breathtaking.
Yeah, and unprecedented. The other problem they have is they're becoming a bit of a running laughingstock in America. You know, we've seen the late night hosts piling in, and in Stephen Colbert's case, openly talking about the affair rumours involving William, which have never been published in the UK, and which, to be fair, we have no knowledge if that's true or not, but they're being openly discussed now on American television.
Well, can I just say, going back to the Mother's Day picture, I mean, if this is being managed by anybody at the palace, why didn't she have a wedding ring on?
Right.
I mean, it would have been such a no-brainer, so easy to do that. But every step along the way, there have been so many missteps that people are simply believing nothing.
Yeah, and the problem is, if you're trying to put out the fires of conspiracy theories, you don't do it by chucking a load of gasoline onto the fire, which is what they've done through all this. I mean, I have a lot of blame, actually, for the palace press teams, who just seem to have massively dropped the ball here. The idea that they wouldn't immediately ask, has this been edited, if they're going to release it as proof that everything's fine, is to me completely baffling. Kim Kardashian was on my way to find Kate, she said. You know, like I say, when you become a laughingstock like this, but also playing to the conspiracy theories of where the hell is Kate, it's not good, is it, for the royals?
Well, it's terrible for the royals. And look, it's not just a one-off. When you go back to the way they handled the crumbling of the marriage of Diana and Charles, when you look at Diana leaving Buckingham Palace and looking at the way that was handled, the way her death was handled, the way Prince Andrew was handled, the way Meghan and Harry was handled. I mean, there have been a series of bungles over a quarter century. But I think of all of them, at least, you know, it's hard to put context to it because we're in the middle of it. But this is feeling like the worst one, because this is not just the palace being heartless. It's the palace being unbelievable, the palace not having credibility. And without that foundational credibility, I don't know how they move forward.
I've never known so many people in America contacting me on a regular, even as I've been talking to you, I've had a couple of texts from high-profile people on American media asking what is going on with the royal family. Is it the beginning of the end, and so on? America does seem to be really agog with all this.
I cover everything that goes on in this country and have for decades. And this is one of those things. You're right. It has just just taken over. This is what people are talking about here. This is number one, and everything else far below number two. I mean, it is, people are consumed with it because it's a mystery. People in this country love mysteries. You know, I don't know if you guys get Dateline there, but it's very popular here because you always want to figure out who done it. And I think this is a whodunit right now. It's just that the version that's being released from the palace is off the table. People aren't buying it. They think it's got to be something different. That's why these social media conspiracies are, some of them are really catching fire, because as long as you have a thread that connects those theories to something with this, people are going to talk about it. It is number one in America right now. And we have a presidential election.
Right, which is incredible. And in the middle of all this, you've got the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Meghan and Harry, in California, still proving to be a massive thorn in the side of the royal family. On the day that William stands up in London to pay tribute to his mother, 25 years on with the foundation that was set up in her memory, there is Meghan Markle announcing the release of her new Instagram project, which she's going to make garlic jams or something. People seeing this as a quite deliberate attempt to take the attention away.
I have a slightly different take on this, Piers, than you do. I think in America, in a way, Harry and Meghan are in the upswing, because what I'm hearing is people saying, well, Meghan was right. It's impossible being a member of that family. And people who think that Kate might have had some kind of a nervous breakdown, they're looking at what happened to Meghan. They're looking at what happened to Diana. And they're saying, yep, it's impossible to live in that family. Meghan and Harry may be right. So in a way, I think in terms of their status, in terms of PR in America, it's gone up as a result of this.
How interesting, because over here, all the polls are, they're getting more and more unpopular.
Yeah.
America is very important, Harvey, to the royal family, to the monarchy. I think if you took the American love of our royals away, you would be taking a very, very large chunk of their viability as a working, serving monarchy. How damaging is all this been, do you think, to the brand of the royal family and the monarchy?
I'll tell you why I think this is really damaging. That a lot of people in America, honestly, myself included, think that the royal family, it's just this stodgy group of people behind, this big wall at Buckingham Palace, and that William and Kate were kind of a breath of fresh air, that they were young, that they kind of connected to young people around the world, that they understood media. And now the way I think a lot of people are viewing this is, they're using the same playbook as the 70 and 80-year-olds in the palace. And so there was this feeling and maybe even hope that William and Kate would dust off, what had been going on in the palace for years. And I think now they're kind of viewing them as part of the problem.
Yeah. Harvey Levin, always brilliant to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure, Piers.
So, Harvey, one of the smartest guys in American media, I've known him a long time, very plugged in, knows the celebrity game like nobody, knows the royal game from their side of things. Interesting, I thought, Robert, first off, what he said about Meghan and Harry, how in America they might be having a slight revisionist period where people are saying, well, this is what they were complaining about. This life's awful.
Well, it certainly looks like it, doesn't it? There's no question about that. What they've made, as he was saying, so many mistakes from beginning to end of this.
Why? I mean,
I don't know.
Who is running the palace press teams that is allowing all this to happen?
Well, number one, they've got this split press team. Back in the day when we were working together on The Sun, they'd have one umbrella. Buckingham Palace would speak for it all.
Correct. So what is it now? Just explain.
It's now Buckingham Palace speaks for the King and the other royals, and they have Kensington Palace, which speaks for William and Kate. And so this mistake is really through Kensington Palace. Now, that's an error in itself, because you haven't got an overview. The whole overview, it means you've got things going off.
Of the monarchy's interest.
It's going in different directions. And there's even people saying, oh, that's Kensington Palace's problem. No, it's not. It's the whole of the royal family's problem. As we're seeing, people judging them and saying, this is worse than North Korea, worse than Iran. This is outrageous.
Yeah.
So they don't trust what's coming out there.
I think that this runs deeper. I think that the late Queen knew that her wonderful family that she lives and loves is a hot mess. Why the hiding? You should have just kept it as such. And that is where our beautiful late queen was trying to teach you all. Shut up. Be quiet. Don't do or say anything. They can talk until the cows come home. But there's panic because there's guilt. There's not one of us, including you that's watching, that has never done anything bad. And I'm talking about when you were younger, in your teens. You did something naughty, or you didn't go to school that day, or you went to your friends, or you went to a concert. You did something around in the house, whatever. And you're kind of seeing that you're going to get caught. We panic. And we try to cover up because we don't want to be found out. And in so doing, we ride on emotion. And because it's emotional, we make mistakes. And that's what the palace aides are doing. What I'm saying is that if Kate really truly is just not well, there would have been no need for the running around. That was what raised the red flags. They created them. And when we sat up was when the press agencies, Getty Images, AP, said we have to kill it because this has been doctored. We woke up this morning. That's not the only picture that has been doctored. Apparently, a picture with the late queen and her grandchildren, it's also saying that that picture has been doctored. And Kate Middleton's photo of Queen Elizabeth surrounded by royal children was manipulated, photo agency says. As far as they are concerned, anything coming out of the royal palace, we have to look. Because you know what? The royal palace can no longer be trusted. I mean, why would we not have the television show The Crown? The tea is so hot on a regular basis. You just have to sit back. Because I really will braggasaurus about this. I don't cover the royal family. Leave them alone. But I now understand that they've been doing this for a minute. They've been doing it and they've been getting away with it. And we didn't believe them. It was unbelievable. Why would they? I mean, they've got everything. They've got all the money. They've got all the jewels. They're beautiful. They're this. And it is no bearing or mockery on Kate. Kate, in a way, has stepped aside to say, this is what I've been dealing with day one. I'm not dealing with it anymore. Why the lies? Why the manipulation? Why are you doctoring things? Why are you bringing a body double? And you think of all the people that I wouldn't know. I was out there in Hollywood. I did extra work. I did body double, hand double, voiceovers, over 1,000 films. Yes, I did. I know what a body double looks like. And this girl is 15 years younger than Kate. And Kate is beautiful, don't get me wrong. But Kate wouldn't be running around. And this is somebody who is very ill. And this is somebody who she's just sick. And she's unwell. And she's this. Why don't you just stop? I pleaded with you yesterday. You come out now. And now you have this photo and video up. And it doesn't look like her. You can see the wig from here. No highlights, nothing. Young girl, she has to be 26, 7, 8. She's not even 30, that child. Kate is 42, and you can see it in her face. And all of a sudden, from swollen to now angular. If she can do all of that, why couldn't she stop and say, thank you so much for the love. I live in love. I live in love, my darlings. Thank you so much. I'm okay. I'm getting better. That's all she had to say. Because you ignited this fire. It was nobody else. And as you can see, the newspapers don't have the power that they had before because we have social media. Yes, because you know what? Information and technology changed all of that. So what is now impactful is social media. they become more powerful because they're much more relatable. Because when push comes to shove, you're not being paid. This is what I live and love, and you guys called it, and it's quite true. For a very, very, very long time, I wanted a television show on a national network. I wanted the Fumi show, and I still do, blah, blah, blah. And somebody pointed it out to me. Fumi, you have the creative freedom to say whatever you want on YouTube and do any show you want to. And so we relate to you. You do your fitness, you do your fashion police, you'll talk about 1 or 2 topics, vlogs and everything. We live and we love. And I realized that it was absolutely true. And I bring my own stories of which you can relate, and I relate to you. And I can laugh and talk with you directly. I live for it because I have the creative freedom to do what I want to do. Piers Morgan got fired. He came to our neck of the woods on YouTube to open up his channel. Ain't that a trip? Who would have known?
And it may be that the reality is nowhere near as out of control, but the perception of what is happening is that it's chaotic and everyone's panicking. They're like, is Charles dying? What is wrong with Kate? Where is she? What happened with that picture? It's like constant kind of uncertainty.
And this is the thing, it really didn't have to be this complicated, did it? It really didn't, because...
Well, depending on what the reality is.
Well, what we're being asked to believe is that somebody who we know is an amateur photographer has taken many photographs of her children. We have had them published and we've been able to marvel over them. But on this occasion, it has all gone so dramatically
You know why?
wrong.
And you touched on an interesting thing there. I would go back, I would say probably all her pictures have probably been edited. Right,
Which is going to be my next point.
There's a famous picture.
That was going to be my next point.
Picture of the Queen shortly before she died with all the great-grandchildren. And they're all looking at the camera and smiling. I've got a lot of kids in my family. The idea that they're all under 12, they'd all be looking at the camera smiling is impossible. So that has clearly been edited. Now, the problem is it's about trust. If the media are now going to start rejecting everything given to them by the palace, that's a real slippery slope. I've never known this, where news agencies like Reuters and AP issued a kill notice, basically saying, do not touch this, we can't trust them. It's unprecedented, isn't it?
There's this emotional contract, remember, between the subjects, us and the royal family. We love the royal family and they are supposed to love us, which means that they don't lie to us, they don't mislead us. Yes, and this is what we've discovered in the most shocking way.
But James, the problem here, I think, if you ask me to put my finger on it, William, like Harry, right, because of what happened to their mother, and I completely understand this, if that had been me and my mother being chased into an underpass by paparazzi, right, whatever the reality, which is actually it was a drunk driver that caused the accident and the paparazzi were 1,000 yards away and all this, right, the reality is if you're those boys at the age they were, 15 and 12, you think the media killed your mother. Right? So this is a burning dislike of the media generally.
But I think that's an interesting point, because is it the media that's coming for Kate right now or asking questions? Not really. The media in this country is playing the game. They're telling everyone.
We didn't run the TMZ picture, which Harvey's team got, right? We didn't run it here in this country.
They are peddling these stories that the palace are asking them to put out, like the farm shop. I mean, that's ridiculous. No one's there. No one saw it happen.
It would have happened.
But how can you know that happened if there's no picture?
So this is really interesting, isn't it?
No, that would have been...
Rob immediately says that happened. Okay. And
how did it happen if there was no one there to see?
I'm sure from talking to the Sun...
There's no way Victoria Newton run that story.
Sorry, do we trust the Sun now? Because that's...
actually, on this I would, absolutely.
Right, okay.
And because I've spoken to the editor...
Shall I tell you what...
No, hang on. I just want to make that point. It's interesting that your first reaction is not to trust it.
Well,
because the palace may have spoon-fed
because I'm sorry, it's a farm shop.
No, but this is the problem. Look, I actually think she was at the farm shop. However,
why do you
understand.
think none of the public took a picture?
Well, I understand why you don't believe it, because that comes down to the issue of trust, which has been severely damaged.
Absolutely. It's like me saying I saw the Loch Ness Monster and it was happy and healthy. But I haven't seen a picture of it.
I don't think, and I might be, maybe I'm one of the many conspiracy theorists on this, but when I saw the picture of Kate in the car with her mother taken by TMZ, it bears no relation to the picture we saw that she issued on that Mother's Day. And in fact, a lot of sleuths on the internet have said this is an old picture from an old set. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I just don't think she looks like she does in that Mother's Day picture. So did she put in an old picture. We don't know because the palace won't release the original picture.
And so the trust
and that in itself, to me, as a former tabloid editor, is like, well, that stinks, right?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just release the original?
The trust is broken.
Completely. And we know that we're always told, don't we, a royal source said, a friend close to Kate said, the witness said. That's not enough
It's not
anymore.
enough. The editor
It's
at The
not
Sun
enough.
said that's not enough, Piers.
And, Harvey really referenced a relevant
They would
point
have
here.
cleared it. Well, the point of it is, you say that's not enough. I mean, I've spent 35 years covering the royal family with sources. I broke the story that Charles was to marry Camilla, not with a named source. Within a day, it was confirmed. The sources do exist, and they are real. I don't believe the editor of The Sun in 2024 would just take a punt like that and get it wrong. I just don't. And you may have your reasons. You may not trust The Sun, but I work for The Sun. Piers work for The Sun.
No, I totally believe Victoria Newton has published that knowing it's true. I know she's got very good sources at the palace. I'm interested, with James, with you, because you've been very passionate in your defence of Meghan Markle. I totally respect your right to do that. And it's interesting hearing what Harvey said about the way it's being slightly revised now, their complaints, in light of what's going on. I understand that too. But you did a picture of yourself wearing a Free Kate T-shirt.
Yes.
Which many would say, well, you're kind of mocking a woman who's been seriously ill.
I don't think so.
You were accused of doing that.
I was accused of it.
Do you not think there's a slight double standard there?
Absolutely not, no.
You race to protect Meghan from any criticism, but you pile in on Kate.
But that's not a criticism of Kate. That's
what do you want to free her
I
from?
want to free her from this ridiculous situation where no one is saying anything. The truth isn't allowed
She's ill.
out.
She's
the
recovering
palace
from
are controlling a narrative.
from surgery.
But do we know that?
Yes, we do know that.
Why do we know so much about King Charles right now?
Because the king is the head of state.
Do you want a T-shirt, Piers?
How much are you selling them
I'm
for?
selling them for
How much are they?
I think they're pathetic.
£20
I think
on my
that's
website.
pathetic.
And actually, the proceeds
to be fair,
go to a great charity.
Which is the charity?
Check them out. They're called James Barr Current Account.
Well, I'll give you the charity money, but I just think that is pathetic.
To be fair, we have a celebrity
because
royal
she's not
family
free
now.
from what?
We have a celebrity royal family now. We have a celebrity royal family. We had Free Britney.
Hang on, don't
She's
talk over each other.
recuperating from surgery. That is what she's doing, and that is what's going on here. She's going to have a period of time of recuperation, and I'm sure after Easter, as they said, she will be back.
And if that is the
all
case,
of this nonsense will just disappear.
If that is
They've
the case,
handled it badly,
right.
yes.
If that is the case, and she does keep to the timetable they set out from the start, that somewhere around mid-April, after the Easter holidays, she appears somewhere and she talks about this. And from what I hear, and again, I don't know for sure, but from what I hear, it was a situation, it was a health issue that many women have, and they may have found some other complication that went with it, which made it more complicated, but they fixed everything, and she's going to be fine.
That's great news.
So it's all good news.
We all want.
And I hope that is, I've been accurately told this by a good source, but I think that is maybe what's happened here, and that she will talk about this when she's over it, right? I talked to a lot of women at the weekend about this. No woman would want to discuss this while it's going on, right? Let's be clear. Women's health issues are not for public consumption.
But that's not what
even
we've
in the
been
average
told.
family, never mind the royal. So we can demand more information, and I think it's in their interest to be a little bit more transparent. But ultimately, you're talking about a woman who has been through a hell of a health issue and who has also been through being called a racist by her sister-in-law.
Which is terribly awful.
Which is despicable, in my opinion, and I think completely untrue.
But actually, can I just correct you on that? I don't think Meghan said that specifically. I think
She did.
She said literally Kate is a racist.
She said that she is the one that she was talking about, along with Charles, who expressed, we know this from Naomi Scobie leaked book in Holland, that Meghan Markle wrote a letter to King Charles, in which she said that they had racially incendiary comments about the skin colour of her child, which I just don't believe, right? I said it at the time. I don't believe it now. I certainly don't think Kate has a racist bone in her body, but she's had to deal with everyone believing she may be a racist. And let me ask you, Paula, about that.
Yes.
As a black woman,
yes.
How do you look at Kate now? Did you believe that?
Right. So first of all, I think we're mixing the two stories.
No, I'm talking about the general stress she's been under. It's not just been the health thing. She's lost Prince Philip, right?
Yes.
Her husband's grandfather. Her husband's grandmother, Queen Elizabeth, also died. Seismic shock, and moves her husband into second place for the succession to the throne. They've had all this mudslinging from the Sussexes, particularly the racism claims aimed directly at Kate, right? You put all this together, that's a lot for a woman to deal with in the goldfish bowl of global media.
I see Kate and Meghan as being very similar characters.
What?
Easy to point the finger of blame towards.
I can't think of two more different people if you try.
I can very easily have sympathy for both of them as a woman and as a woman of
Do you
colour.
believe Kate's a racist?
I have no idea whether she is.
Did you believe Meghan Markle when she first said that on Oprah Winfrey that
You're
members of the royal
misquoting.
family...
I was just going to say, I don't think that's...
Did you believe her at the time?
That what?
Meghan Markle?
Hold
Did you believe that members of the royal... Let me ask you, the sequence of events. Did you believe at the time, are you on record as having said that Meghan Markle, if she says members of the royal family were making racial inferences about the skin colour and potentially of her child, did you believe her?
So, what I understand she said...
I lost a job over it, so it's personal.
Well, I think what you lost a job over
was not apologising for just believing it.
No, was in relation to raising allegations.
That was why, and that was specifically why.
And disputing the status of her mental health.
No, just for not believing it generally.
But I worry that we're veering off course here, and that we're
answer my question, though.
And that we're dealing with
Paula,
emotional instead of the specific.
Fine, but answer my question.
So
did you at the time believe Meghan Markle's racism claims?
No, my understanding was it was Harry. So your focus is on Meghan, which concerns me, but actually it was
Meghan's
Harry
the one who said it on Oprah Winfrey.
Meghan. So thank you.
Yeah.
So then
she was repeating what Harry said.
So why are we not asking Harry?
Well, when
that
he did, he sort of fudged it, didn't he?
So that's
he
what
then
we need
fudged
to
it and
focus
denied
on.
it.
He then said, we never said they were racist.
I appreciate that you want to focus the blame on Meghan, but actually I think your focus is incorrect and imprecise on this occasion. It was Harry that raised it.
No, it wasn't.
And then Harry dealt with it.
She raised it.
She raised it on Oprah Winfrey.
Harry spoke to her about and so your question to me then, should she have raised it? I see no reason why not. She trusts her husband. She has faith in her husband.
So
why would her husband
do you
lie
believe
to
Kate's
her?
a racist?
I have no, I've just said to you, I have no idea.
Genuinely curious.
Your question to me should have been...
Because the idea of it is to me
should she have believed her husband?
Preposterous.
And the answer is yes,
you know,
she should have believed her husband.
On another matter, you would say, well, the way that, we've seen with the king, we've seen all the way that they've handled the king, they put out... Well, that's because he's the king. Constitutionally, he has to be doing his duties and doing his job, and that's why they've done it that way. But it comes back to what I said at the beginning. That was handled by Buckingham Palace. This has been handled by Kensington Palace, and they've got their own desires. William has got his own issues with the press, and he doesn't want anybody infiltrating anything to do with his wife.
Rob, I don't think you can divorce the Meghan and Harry saga.
No, I don't.
From all it's all part of it, right?
Yeah.
We don't know if she's had some kind of breakdown, Kate. That's what some of the rumours are about. I don't know if that's true. But it wouldn't surprise...
Meghan said that she'd had a breakdown and you dismissed that.
Well, I didn't believe her, yeah. I thought a lot of her claims on Oprah were clearly palpable nonsense. She said that she and Harry got married by the Archbishop of Canterbury in their back garden. Had that been true, the Archbishop of Canterbury would have gone to prison.
And now what's happening is that people are doubting Kate's word.
Had that been true...
That's what's happening now, Piers.
I agree.
You understand that?
Had that been true, the Archbishop of Canterbury would have been jailed.
She apologised.
Oh, no, for faking the picture.
Yeah, that photograph. Well, and a lot of people have concerns that she's somewhat being thrown under the bus about
Well,
that.
I actually do have concerns. I think Kensington Palace should have taken full responsibility and not Kate and not William.
James, what about this idea that Harvey floated, which is that this sort of proves Meghan and Harry's point? Let me try and be devil's advocate. People know my position about them. I've got zero sympathy. However, it's interesting if Americans are starting to think, well, you know what? This is the kind of stuff they were talking about.
It is.
It's a hellish life being trapped in this world. William, I know, is very angry about the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. And about his life and stuff. He's got to be king. He's never going to. He can't leave. I mean, he could, but he's not going to.
I think it's utterly disgusting that they had such a difficult time here and that the press continue to hound, and you were part of that, Piers, and still are, hound Meghan.
I don't think they do.
I'm not hounding anybody.
There's articles out today calling them disgusting, narcissists, etc. And I just think they need to be...
I'm literally just trying to be fair-minded about it.
And what they said to Oprah, what they said in that interview, and what Harry has said in his books is very important, because there are red flags.
That was by an American author.
There are red flags.
It was Literary Society talking about her book, and the fact that she has said that, it's an American author.
Yeah.
It's not British press.
This is actually...
I don't trust the British press. Sorry, what is this? Why are you trusting the British press?
Because I've worked for the British press for 35 years. I think you sit there to think that they'll put any old rubbish on the front page. You're living in cuckoo land with your silly T-shirt on.
Well, thank you.
Nonsense.
I'm not living in cuckoo land. I'll tell you what's nonsense, that you think we should trust an institution that...
No, I believe in the belief in journalism.
Did you believe the title Straight Outta Compton? Straight Outta...
Did I believe that. No, I
out of
didn't
Compton.
believe that. No, but I think
the
that's-
truth. You know the
James,
truth.
James is simply making the same
What are
point.
you talking about? You free Kate from what? What do you mean don't trust the media? They don't just put things in the paper willy-nilly like
Are you
online.
kidding?
Are you? No, I'm not
Yes, they
kidding.
do.
Oh, don't be
They've
ridiculous.
said some insane things.
No, I'm not saying the same things. The only
That's what the
person
public
showing
like
a
you
degree
like
of
to
nonsense.
think. It's not
That
true.
just
I used to
isn't
run a
true.
newspaper.
It just isn't
Yes,
true.
it is. We know.
Yeah,
and we
fine.
know all about it.
Fine.
You don't
okay.
know all
no,
about
you think
it.
you think
clearly
you know
know
all
nothing
about
So
it.
tell me why it's true that Kate was in a farm shop, but nobody from no one's available for an
Well,
interview.
why
No
don't
one
you-
that
why
works in the
don't
farm
Because you
you-
shop.
quite often have people going to farm shops. I was in one myself 2 weeks ago.
and without
nobody
their
took my
phones out.
picture.
Sorry, I forgot that we live in the 1900s where no one has a camera
And not
phone.
only that, but come on, this is a worldwide
I do
story
think
that
that
has
you're
gone
living-
stratospheric.
you are
If
living
you were
in
that
a
witness,
fantasy world.
we would know who that
I would
witness
imagine
was.
it's the same
we would
reason.
know who that
You can't
was.
just
Hang
say I'm
on.
living in a
Let
fantasy
me
world.
answer.
You're
Let me
living
answer.
online. You're
Let
not
me
living in
ask
the
you a
real
question.
world.
She goes to the school a lot where the kids are at school,
There are
right?
rules.
We never see pictures of them at the school taken by any of the other parents. Do you know why? They just have a respect for the two royals and know their lives are difficult and they don't want to
I appreciate
sell
that.
pictures.
I do appreciate
They
that.
should be applauded
There
for
is-
it. It may be in the farm shop. The public there have the
Should be
same view.
applauded. Listen, Russia is now trolling the UK
Yeah.
with this ridiculous and deeply offensive statement because they know they can get away with it.
Yeah.
I think that is
We can all agree about
terrifying and terrible. And I honestly think our Prime Minister should do something about it because he works for us, and I'm afraid the monarchy don't feel like they work for us at the minute.
Yeah, listen, I think we can all
Well,
agree on that. Rob, just
I
generally
find some of the
Richard,
statements. You don't understand that there are rules and regulations that the proper media have to be run by. You can't. That story
Yeah.
would have been gone to the Kensington Palace, and they would have said yes, but please don't say where the tennis club was, and please don't do this. That's how it would have been done,
Yes,
and
it
of
would.
course they would have run the truth. That is utter nonsense.
one of the most eminent royal writers for decades, Diana's close personal friend. He wrote a very interesting piece at the weekend, basically saying that this has got a feel about it. This could be the beginning of the end of the monarchy.
It's
And we are,
fascinating.
to remind people, we are one of the last surviving European monarchies. So this is not as far-fetched as it may seem. What do you think of that?
I thought it was a very good piece. I
Yeah.
think it should be. I think everybody at Buckingham Palace and Kensington Palace need to wake up and read that piece and accept it for what it is, and listen to people from the outside and say, look, we've got to sort ourselves out here. And I think without the king at the helm, because clearly the king, although he's doing his constitutional duties, there's a lack of continuity, a lack of authenticity, a lack of leadership since Her Majesty went. And I think that actually someone's got to get a grip here.
And the problem is the
and prove
person
it.
who may have got the grip, Charles,
Is not well.
is very ill, right? He's got cancer at 75. Whatever he's got, and we don't know what it is, but we do know it's incapacitating him. And his wife, Camilla's
Tiring.
been having to do a lot of the work. Interestingly, I was told by somebody the other day that all that furore over her going on holiday, she didn't.
I mean, why
In the
was she
end.
going on holiday in the first place?
She was having 2 days off.
Right.
I mean, she's 75 too.
No,
I mean, most women at 75 aren't
76,
working.
yeah.
Listen.
They're not normally working at that age.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she's
I
putting
think
in a
Richard
lot
Kate
more.
piece was a very good piece, very on the button.
I agree. Look,
And
we
it's
don't want the monarchy to end, do we? It's a
No,
special thing.
I
that's
think
come.
they've got to buck up, though.
I think there is a generational issue here, and like with the T-shirt "Free Kate," we had the "Free Britney"
From what?
in relation to the
That's
Conservatives.
why you got it,
We
Free
have
Britney.
a
It's a
celebrity.
nonsense.
We have this celebrity royal family now, and we can't get away from that. And the problem is there is a disconnect between certain generations and the younger generation, and we're seeing that now in the way
She's
that
simply
that
isolated.
people are prepared to question
But the
what they
problem
are
is,
hearing
Rob,
and seeing.
I'm sure that's right.
Well, why not show pictures of her looking at Get World cars or videos?
Yes.
No, I would have definitely, and I agree
Yes.
with this, definitely.
That's what they should have
and
done.
And they have a photographer on their staff.
Yeah, I agree.
Andrew
Absolutely.
Parsons did all the backstage stuff.
I agree with you. And
just
by the way,
use
if they'd
him.
done that and she
Use
looked,
him.
and if she did look slightly frailer than normal,
That's life.
the public sympathy would have been enormous.
It would have
Of
been.
course.
Right, so I really think they have dropped the ball.
Absolutely.
And I
they
think the
have.
fact that she had to carry the can for it all personally,
Right.
I thought William should have been with her on that.
Yes.
And I thought the palace should have taken
Well,
responsibility.
it's
for
actually what you
Silence is
said.
written, wasn't
Two
it?
photographs should have been issued, and it should have been our mistake, and it should have been, but Kensington Palace take the buck.
Yeah.
I also want to just say something, because I do feel slightly attacked by this T-shirt, but if I was Kate... and
Well,
if-
you're making money
if-
out of
I'm listen,
her ill health.
Listen,
You are.
I'm not making money out of her ill health. If I were Kate and I was unwell, if these stories are true, if what they're telling us is true, then genuinely I think that comedy heals. And so if she is seeing things on the internet that aren't true, like, is she made of cake? I'm sure that is in
Yeah, but
some
there's
way.
a lot worse that's been said
Of
on
course
the internet.
there's a lot
and
worse.
some of the things as a lawyer, I'm sure you think must be abhorrent.
Yeah.
And so you're taking part in that. And, at the end of the day, I think it's daft because it's what you're freeing her from. But the fact is...
a toxic situation, perhaps.
So you think you know. I don't think that's the case. I think she's...
We don't know she thinks it's
recuperating. She's recuperating
don't know that,
from
no.
a serious operation. That's what's
No,
happening.
but what I'm saying is it's that celebrity mindset that you're seeing unfolding here.
There's a lot of
and that's
people
what's happening.
depending.
You know why?
on
Because
Kate.
they're the biggest. They are the
Absolutely.
biggest celebrities in the world.
Yeah, and there's a lot.
That's what's been
And
proven
that's what
by
we're
this.
learning now.
There's a
aren't
lot of
we?
Well,
money
no,
In a
I've always
shocking
known
way.
that.
In a
The
shocking
British
way.
royal family are the biggest stars.
But they will all be, lots of people now with different TV shows, podcasts, everything, they're all depending on this person being out and about. At the moment, she's not out and about.
Yeah.
That is the problem. But it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong just because she hasn't
I'm
been
not sure
seen
that is the
for
only
six.
problem, actually.
I
don't
think
it's
what
just that she
you
hasn't
said
been
was right.
seen.
Well, they should have done that. And
I think there's a lot of problems with the royal family
And
right
they
now.
should have done
Not
that.
least of when, I mean, do we
communication.
know why William missed his godfather's memorial?
I think I do know, yeah.
What do you think it was?
I think he had a disagreement with a member of the royal family. I don't believe it was anything to do with his
Really?
children.
So
I think
what
there'd
is
been
going
an
on?
issue. And
why
one
won't they
thing
just
to
say
remember,
something?
one thing to remember here is that they are human beings, the same as everybody else, and things happen.
Who was the
Uh,
other member?
I'm not going to
Well,
say
and
more,
Robert,
but I mean, I
do you know
did.
what? You make a good point.
I just think you've got to remember the human beings. I
Yes,
just think
and
we're
the fact
actually.
that there are children involved and that these children are now being mocked online.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I
and
thought
that
that
is
was
my
sick,
concern.
actually. I thought that was sick.
Absolutely, and that was my concern.
Okay,
about
look,
President
let's
Zelensky.
end on all agreeing that that is a concern, because it is, because they have been mocked mercilessly. And unfortunately, it was their parents' fault.
And we saw this with Harry and
it
William
was
when
their
they were
parents'
growing
fault.
up.
You
That's
can't
the
get it. You
point.
can't get away from that.
But I don't like that the internet and that we're being told we're hounding Kate. I don't think that's fair.
Well, it is
No,
fair.
but you only see hounding when it's Meghan, not when it's a
No,
Kate.
I think-
when it's
Have you
Kate,
read
it's
some of
outcome
the
of
stuff?
t-shirts,
Of course
buy
it's
one for 20 quid, have a good laugh at her expense. But that's okay. Hypocrisy is the beauty of the world. Let me thank you all very much indeed.
You are playing in our faces, but you're not playing in mine. I will continue to debunk everything that you put out there that looks and smells absolutely false. Let Kate heal. Leave Kate alone. I'm not talking about Kate. I'm putting Kate to the side. Kate has got nothing to do with this technically. It is just glaringly obvious the kind of institution this royal family is and the royal aides and what has been going on for a minute and a half. Let's go back to like 25 years. They've been orchestrating and they have been controlling the narrative of what they wanted to feed us. The thing was that Harry and Meghan were thrown to the wolves. There was somebody that they just dumped all the poop on while others slid to the side and got away with murder. No pun intended. They got away with a lot. Harry and Meghan have gone. And sometimes you need to clear the air, you need to clear the dust. No matter what you might think of her, because I see it's very divided in the comments. And like I said, Team Sussex, Team Cambridges, it doesn't matter. I'm Team Woman up until yesterday. I've changed it now. While I'm still Team Women, I'm really looking at all of you all behind the palace gates. And I'm like, wow, and you're not even good at your job. You are not even good at your job. I've been down, told you, stop. Because even Stevie Wonder can see that this is not Kate Middleton. Even Stevie Wonder can see this is not Kate Middleton. Why did you do it? Because of guilt. Because Kate is not cooperating. I believe that's why. The rabbit hole that I will go down is this. Something is not right in the milk. Something is not right in the milk.
And in some ways, is there not something quite sweet about the fact that Kate is just like the rest of us? You know, she's there on a little mobile phone using one of those dodgy apps, trying to
No,
make
I don't
the
believe
kids
that,
look a
though.
bit better.
But that's what I don't believe that, and I think a lot of people don't. I don't believe she even sat for that picture. I don't think that's a
You
real
think it's an old
picture that she
picture?
just edited. Yes, I think it's an amalgamation of other shots involving the family. I don't know exactly how she did it, but look, there's that one picture we've seen of Kate that you just referenced that TMZ put out like 2 weeks ago, it was the beginning of March, and she's in the passenger seat. Over in the UK, that would be our normal driver's seat. And her mom is driving the car and she looks puffy. Her face looks round, and it's usually very angular and awesome. But she looks puffy, like something's wrong. Like she had, I mean, I think about when I just had my kids, I got super swelled up like a tick, and I was puffy all over. That's how she looked to me. And there's no way this picture that they put out 2 weeks later is present day. I don't believe it. She's got all the angles back. We played yesterday how it's identical to the shot that was on the cover of British Vogue. I mean, identical. And there's all sorts of theories about how they did it, but I don't personally, my own personal belief is she did not sit for that photo. And the real question is, how unwell is she that she can't sit for a photo with her 3 children that she would control, that she could Photoshop, that she could cover up herself with? Something's going on.
Well, something is going on. I mean, something very much is going on. She's not well. But in terms of the photo, I'm not sure I agree. It certainly wasn't the Vogue magazine cover. That's been debunked. And the kids do look older. The kids do look older from when they'd previously been seen. But I think where Kate and William, to be honest, and I'm fans of both of them, Meghan, but where they've been incredibly naive is this is 2024. You can't just disappear for 4 months, Kate. You just can't, especially not when the king, who is battling very serious cancer, is still out there being seen, meeting with the Prime Minister, attending church. So I think there is a real naivety about the management behind the scenes of the royal family. And sometimes this is when you need a strong courtier. And, we've spoken a lot about the courtiers, Meghan, in terms of Harry and Meghan. And, they were all at war, and Harry hated all of William's courtiers. But they were strong people, and they would stand up to the royal family and they'd tell them what they needed to do sometimes. The problem is now, Kate saying, I'm not going to be seen for 4 months, just doesn't fly. This is the world of social media. And I think what's fascinating to me, and again, it sort of ties into where I'm going, is that the newspapers don't control the narrative anymore. The newspapers are dying. So the newspapers might be doing this PR job for Kate and saying, leave her alone. But the problem is that's not what the rest of the world is saying. That's not what the internet is saying.
She's too big a star. There are armchair investigators all across the world looking at this now. I mean, for all 6 news agencies to pull that photo within hours of it hitting showed how much of an amateurish job it was done. And I'm telling you, Dan, I've got my own suspicions. I know you've got sources and so on, but I'm not in that position. But there's no way, like when you Photoshop a photo, honestly, for me, the most I'll do is like change the setting on it. You can do like add light or put it on dramatic or what, you can do, like I'll do that sometimes just to make it look a little prettier. But I've never done filters. I've never done anything like that. And I've certainly never done anything where like I changed the kid's sweater to where the arm doesn't fit anymore. Like that thing was heavily manipulated. And the question is why? I don't believe she sat for a photo with the 3 children. I think it's because you're saying she's unwell. But here's the question the audience is going to wonder. How unwell? Because as you know, forgive me, there are people online who believe she may no longer be with us. And I realize that's absurd conspiracy stuff. Okay.
Look, I can absolutely tell you she's alive. There are reasons why she doesn't want to appear in public that are to do with physical appearance. I think what I would say, though, and I'm not trying to undermine at all what's going on, because I would argue the royal family is in arguably its biggest crisis in a generation. I mean, look at everything that's happened since the death of the late Queen 18 months ago.
They are desperate to convince us that everything is okay when everything is awry.
I mean, James, on a serious point, when I saw it, I thought, great, she looks really well, healthy, right? Everything's okay, crisis over. The moment you hear that it's been manipulated to the extent that agencies, in the most extraordinary thing, I've never seen it, return it, reject it, kill it, it sends a conspiracy theorist off the dial. Because then, I'm asking myself, as a former newspaper editor, I'm being a bit cynical about it, was that picture of her from last week? or because it bore little relation to the picture of her in the car.
Well, you mentioned the wedding ring and talking about swelling. Why is she wearing skinny jeans? There's lots of questions here. I don't think that she was in that photo. That's my opinion. If she was, then she'd plastered an old photo on top. But did she do it? Clearly not. This is the palace. We know how this works. Do you really think Kate has an Adobe subscription?
Maybe.
Does she have Photoshop? Is she doing that? Clearly not.
What I do know is that she has for the last few years, since the kids actually were born, she has taken it upon herself not to let the media take pictures of the kids in the formal setting, but to do it herself.
Yes,
so
true.
she clearly is an amateur photographer.
And I applaud that.
So it is probably quite...
But why have the kids got their fingers crossed? Because if we've seen the Truman Show theory, the suggestion would be that they're not really with their mum.
Oh, James,
and they're trying to they're trying to tell us something. Like, I know I'm in the rabbit hole.
But here we are. You are in the rabbit hole, but so are millions of people around the world, Paula. And although on one level it could be trivial, right? It might just be literally, she's okay, she's recovering well, she tried to do something to correct the conspiracies and just got it wrong by editing and not realising. Or it could be that they're hiding something. I mean, I've been told some stuff which is, if even half of it is true about what's happening here, is pretty alarming. So I don't know what to believe, nor do any of us. We're not there, we don't know.
And this is the problem, isn't it? This is the problem. As you rightly pointed out, the picture on Mother's Day, Mothering Sunday, was supposed to be about quelling any normal concerns that, you know, those out there who love the royals have. But what that picture actually did, and here is where I add to the conspiracy theory, what that picture actually did was compound the conspiracy theories. It allowed people to question what it is we are being told from the royal family in a way that we would never have done before.
It's also, and I think this might be more damaging going forward, it's turned them into a laughingstock in America, which is, of course, a very important country for the royal family, because that's where millions of royal fans live. This is a clip from The Daily Show.
You know how I know that's fake? There's 3 kids smiling at the same time. As a parent, I know that's impossible. Also, it should be noted, I didn't even know or care about Kate Middleton's leave of absence, but then you release a photo so edited they have to issue a kill order? Well, now I'm all in. All right?
And that's the problem. And Time magazine, you know, one of the most respected magazines out there, has published an article called "The Royal Family Has a Trust Problem." And it includes this statement. This controversy, it says, stands to undermine the press and the wider public's trust in the royal family, an institution that, as the late Queen Elizabeth said, must be seen to be believed. This crisis now prompts many to question whether they can still believe what they're seeing.
That's all I gotta say. Don't forget to like, to subscribe, hit the notification button, and I have some exercises for you for the core. You're going to live and love it so very much. We've got lots of fitness for you guys. But while this is on, I'm going to be on top of it. I'm going to be on top of it because it's personal to me. Once this fake Kate walked across, most probably a fake William, I was insulted. I was offended. I said, okay, you know what? Now we're going to cover it. Where I wasn't going to cover it before, now I'm going to cover it. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Pretty face and everything, I know. But I'm not stupid. By far, I'm not. All right? You forget we have been here since the 1990s. When Princess Diana was running around, did you know that we share the same manicurist? Bobby. Yeah. But her beautiful soul rest in eternal peace. She said it, we didn't believe it. She was so gung-ho about Harry. And I always wondered why? Because she knew how the system worked. And again, there was no social media. There were no eyes behind the wall. So it was so far-fetched. You just couldn't believe it. You wouldn't have believed it. Every day for the thief, one day for the owner. That's how we say it in Nigeria. All of my loves, my darling. Gotta go. Yep. I have lunch. And then I have a Purist teachers meeting. No, I'm going to change. I will change. But I'm going to go and have lunch. All right, my darlings. I love you. Mwah. Bye.